The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
This was a rabbi, a chaplain on an army base in America, I believe in Texas, during the Korean War. Okay? This rabbi had, what a chaplain does. They have some services. They take care of people who pass away. They try to help their people. One Friday night, the rabbi is in his room, and a soldier comes running in, a Jewish man. He has in his hand 3 letters. He says, Rabbi, I don't know what to do. Rabbi says, the Shabbat comes in. I don't know what to do, Rabbi. I'm so nervous. He said, what are you doing? He says, let me show you. He says, I have 1 letter that says I'm being called to duty right now to go fight in Korea. He says, and I have 2 other letters. He says, Rabbi, my parents, I'm an only son of 2 elderly parents that are not so well and are sick. If I have to go, they're not going to be okay. In fact, I have letters from 2 letters, one from each of their doctors, saying how dangerous it'll be to their hearts and to their future if I would go away to Korea. Rabbi, can you please do something for me? The rabbi says, he looks at the letters, he says, our country is at war right now. You don't just get to change your mind. He says, but Rabbi, please, I need some help. He says, okay, I'll try. The problem is that the general who makes these decisions is at the other side of the army base, 6 miles away. So Shabbat morning, the rabbi wakes up early, takes these papers, and there's fences around the army base so he can carry. He takes these 3 letters, and he walks 6 miles in Texas to go to the general to meet him. He comes into the general's office. He sits down, and he starts to present his case. There's this person, he's a private, and he's asking. The general gets up and he starts yelling. He says, this is wartime. What kind of request is this? He says, you guys expect me to change? It's impossible. Are you crazy? And he's got so angry, he picked up the rabbi by his lapels, and he started holding the rabbi. The rabbi, as a chaplain, had on his lapels a little, stone of the 10 Commandments. He says, Rabbi, you see this? You see this stone? These 10 Commandments, they were on stone, because stone doesn't break. He says the same thing. My laws and my instructions are on stone. They do not break. Go home. I'm sorry, this isn't even a question. I never changed this law. And the rabbi's a little shocked. Okay, I got it. I understand. Bad request. Got it. The rabbi sits down, and he starts to get up and starts to walk out. And the general as he's walking out, the general says, Chaplain, where's your Jeep? He says, I don't have one. He says, what do you mean you don't have a Jeep? He says, how'd you get here? He says, I walked. He says, you walked 6 miles just to help a private? He says, yeah, I did. He says, you know what? Sit down. Pulls the phone. He says, get Colonel Wright on the phone for me now. Within 2 minutes, the colonel was in the office. Within 2 minutes, he says, you know what, Colonel? Do you see this private? You see these letters? I want him based in New York City, and I want you to give him orders that every single night he has to go visit his 2 elderly parents. He's going nowhere. Rabbi, you can walk back home. And the rabbi that morning walked back 6 miles in the Texas sun and walked back and saved another Jew. When people see what we have inside of us, when people see how much we care about one another, when people see what it means to be a Yechidi and Yehudi, they understand and they start to realize more than we do what it means to be a Jew. On this holiday, we celebrate us becoming a nation renewed, us becoming a nation choosing to be a nation. When you go out and you give gifts to your friend and money to the needy, and you're dancing and you're jumping and you're happy and your kids are enjoying, understand what we're celebrating. We're celebrating a day that can be greater than Yom Kippur, because we're celebrating a day that we can't fake it. It's only real. We're celebrating a day that every single one of the people we know, we're not looking at the one man at the Bernie Madoff or the one person who got the whole thing wrong. We're looking at the rest of the line of people waiting to give and to sacrifice because they understand what it means to be a Jew inside. On this day, we're real. On this day is the day that we got the greatest title ever given to us, that every single one of us is an Ish Yehudi. Thank you.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org